Right, let's start. So, this is the 8th lecture, or lecture number 8, for Unit 7. Title for this unit, Language, page 72. Right, so this is the title for this unit, Unit 7, Language. Now, before starting our reading, pre-reading, exercise 1, complete the sentences with the keywords in bold from the text. So the text that you are going to read contains words that are written in bold. Use them to complete this exercise. Let's have a look on the text first. Right here, this one, exposed, native language, right, advantage, and also on the next page. Use them to complete the previous exercise here. Now, before I give you my own words or on my own answers, what you do, you try, switch off the video and read. Now, switch off the video. 1. Right. Let's start. Just being exposed to a new language is not enough to learn it. Right. It's not enough just to stay and live in a, let's say, in a new society or in a new country with a new language. You should talk and speak. You need to be able to understand most of what you read and hear. 2. In Quebec, in Canada, many people are, right here, what we do, bilingual. Many people are bilingual, speaking English and French fluently. Bilingual means have 2 languages, which is English and French. That's in Canada. Right, bilingual, like what we say, bilingual dictionary. It means a dictionary with 2 languages. 3. Christina was born in Mexico. So her native language is Spanish. Right. So, was born in Mexico, but her native language is Spanish. 4. In this age of globalization, it is a great, right? It's a great advantage to speak more than one language. It's better for all people to speak more than one language, right? Now you may switch on the video and compare your answers. Pre-reading also here, exercise number 2. Discuss the questions with a partner, right? With your friend. You read, you answer, and discuss the questions. For example, 1. At what age did you first start to study English? Was it at age, for example, 13 or at age 10, as we do these days in Libya? In primary school, class 3, I think, or class 4, we start studying English. Do you wish you had started at an earlier or later age? Yes or no? And give reasons and discuss it with your friend. 2. At what age do you think it's best for children to start learning a second language? For example, English in Libya. What do you think? From birth? Or B, 2 to 5 years old? Or you think C, 5 to 10 years old? Or you think D, after the age of 10? What do you think? Choose and discuss it with your friend. You can talk using Viber or using WhatsApp. Exercise 3, pre-reading also here. The question, quickly skim the text, the next text, right? By reading the first few sentences of each paragraph. And the question, what do you think is the conclusion of the text? Do you think the conclusion is going to be A or B or C or D? Right? What do you think? Right? Actually, I'm going to give you the correct answer. The conclusion is going to be C. The conclusion, what's the best for children depends on their environment. Right? Depends on their environment, depends on their right situation or on their society or the area they are living in. Right? Right. Next page. Now the text. The title for the text is younger always better? Is younger child always better in learning language? Do you think? Always? Right. Let's read. In this age of globalization, second language skills, right, are more important than ever before. With English skills key to academic and professional success, a growing number of parents in non-English speaking countries have their children being studying English at the earliest, right, at the earliest of ages. Right. Here. In countries around the world, preschools offering English instruction have become a common sight, and many parents even begin teaching English to their infants. Infants means children. For some educators, right, the teaching of a foreign language to very young children is a worrying trend, right? They question, right, whether or not such early introduction of a foreign language will have a harmful effect on the native language, right? Others, right, are convinced that children naturally learn languages better at younger ages. So parents are wise to take advantage of this opportunity, of this chance, for example. Right. Will learning a second language too early interfere with the mother tongue? When will second language instruction be most effective? Is earlier always better? The answers to these questions are not as straightforward as some people believe. Right? Next paragraph. Dr. Laura Ann Potito, director of the Cognitive Neuroscience Laboratory for Language and Child Development at Dartmouth College, claims it's never too soon for a child to learn a second language. Potito observed 15 children growing up bilingual in a variety of languages and found there were no substantial, yes, differences between the languages they learned and monolingual users. Right? Right. All right, next. Next, here. Yeah, next paragraph. The earlier a child was exposed to a second language, the better the child did, says Potito, right? This flies in the face of educational policy that suggests exposing a child to only one language at first. A child is not confused by a second language or delayed in learning the community language. Potito found that children who first learned one language and then began to learn a second were never quite as good as those who learned both languages simultaneously. Right? Right. Yeah. Potito's findings are consistent with most recent research in the field of bilingualism. There is a good deal of support for the critical period. The theory that a child's brain is best suited to learn a language effortlessly, and perfectly during the early years. The brain loses this capacity around the onset of puberty, roughly from 10 to 14 years old. Some researchers even claim that as early as the age of 5, the ability to absorb a new language begins to diminish. Right. Next, here. Does this mean that earlier is always better for language learning? Not necessarily. Young children can only take advantage of the critical period, right? Of the critical period, right? If they are immersed in an environment that gives sufficient exposure to the language and opportunities for natural interaction, right? Over an extended period of time, successful bilingual children are typically those raised in an environment where the second language is spoken in the community or within the home, where one or both of the parents speak the additional language. Right. Yeah. Learning a second language in the classroom, however, is an entirely different matter. Most classrooms cannot give the thousands of hours that are necessary for language learning to take place. Right. Furthermore, classroom settings in Asia rarely provide natural interaction in the language, especially when all the students and even the teacher are non-native speakers of English. Contrary to popular belief, in a classroom setting, younger might actually not be better. Several studies have confirmed that, apart from pronunciation skills, older children and early teens learn languages better in the classroom than younger children. Older children generally have superior cognitive skills, attention span, and motivation. These attributes are essential for successful classroom learning. So what should parents do? If parents can provide a natural environment to develop multiple languages, then this certainly is preferable to having the child learn the language in classrooms at a later age. Although there can be delays in language development for one or both languages, bilingual children typically catch up with their monolingual peers relatively quickly and can avoid the thousands of hours of language study that students must endure to master a second language as an adult. Right. Yeah. But for the majority who are unable to provide the conditions for true bilingual development, then perhaps it's advisable to take a more relaxed and realistic approach to developing second language skills in their children. Many experts recommend, that parents give their children regular exposure to a second language through fun songs and videos to help children become accustomed to the rhythm, and intonation of the language. Parents can also read to their children to help build up basic vocabulary and give them a sense of how the language is put together. Done regularly, these activities can do much to give a child an advantage by the time he or she begins studying the language at school. However, exposing younger children to classroom activities such as memorizing grammar rules and vocabulary lists may provide disappointing results. It may also put the children off language learning in the future. And in the long run, that can be far worse than doing nothing at all. Right? Right. Right. So here it's also, we can say it again, the summary is what's the best for children depends on their environment. Right, let's go to the exercises. Now, first exercise here, comprehension, exercise 1. Right, exercise 1, the title, decide if the sentences are true, you choose true, or false. Then write the line number where the evidence is. Write the line number. How do you know that it's true or false? Right? Give the evidence. Now, before I give you my correct answers, what you do, switch off the video, try to work on your own, right? And then you may check with the video, all right? Now, switch off the video, switch it off, And let me read for you now. 1. Learning a second language too early can harm the development of the first language. First language, the mother tongue. Is it true or false? Right? The answer is right. False. Right? It's false. We tick false. Line number. Right. If you go back, 22, 23. 22, 23. Let's check. 1, 2. Here. Learn a second language. Potato observed 15 children growing up bilingual, means two languages, in a variety of languages, and found there were no substantial differences, right, between the languages they learned and monolingual users, right? No differences, means it's not harmful. Okay? 2. For children to become a native speaker in two languages, right? Children become a native speaker in two languages. They have to first, if they want to become a native speaker, it means children who want to become or to speak a second language, right, as a native speaker, they must what? First, master one language and then learn the second. Is it? What we say here? False. We take also false. Line number. Where do we find the line number? 26 to 28. 26-28. Let's go back. 26 here. That suggests exposing a child to only one language at first. A child is not confused by a second language, not confused or delayed in learning the community language. No, it's not. So false. 3. In natural learning environments, younger children learn languages best. Is it? Children learn language better than old people. Is it? Right? True. Actually, true. The line number for this, 42, 45. 42-45. Let's go back. 42. Here. Right. Interaction over an extended period of time. Successful bilingual children are typically those raised in an environment, where the second language is spoken in the community. Right. Oh, sorry. Here. Younger children learn languages best. 4. It's not very difficult to provide proper conditions for natural learning of English in classrooms. It's not difficult. True or false? The answer is true. The answer is true. Line number for this choice. Line number for this choice is 47, 48. 47, 48. 5, 6, 7. Here. Most classrooms cannot give the thousands of hours that are necessary for language learning to take place. Intention or interaction in the language, especially when all the students and even right here. Right. So it's not very difficult to provide. The answer was true. Number 4, true. 5. Older children can develop speaking, listening, and pronunciation skills better than younger children. Older, better than younger children in a classroom environment. What do you think? Number 5. It's true. Line numbers 53, 55. 53-55. 53, 55. Here. Several students have confirmed that apart from pronunciation skills, older children and early teens learn languages better in classrooms than younger children. Right. Right, so true. Number 6, the text implies that teaching young children grammar is not effective. Not effective. True. True. Line number for this 76 and 78. 76 and 78. Right? 76 and 78. So it's true. Right? Let's stop for a while here. Right. Let's continue. So, exercise 2, comprehension 2. Yeah. All right. Answer the questions without using a dictionary here. Don't use a dictionary. Try not to use a dictionary. Right, before I give you my own answers, right, try to work on your own, right, and then after you finish, check the video. Now switch the video off. Switch it off. 1. In line 12, what does take advantage of mean? What does it mean? Is it A, B, or C? Right? The answer is A. Take the advantage of means use an opportunity, means a chance, in a way that will be good for you. Right? That's what take advantage of. That's what we say in Arabic, يستغل الفرصة لمصلحته. Right? Right. Question 2. In line 25, if you go back, line 25, you find this one. What does flies in the face of mean? What does it mean? Flies in the face of. Is it A, B, C, or D? Right? The answer is B. The answer is B. Flies in the face of, it means directly opposes. Right. Against. Right. 3. In lines 29 and 30, what does never quite as good? Right. Never quite as good. What does it mean? Is it A, B, or C? The answer is B. Always a little worse. Never quite as good. It means always a little worse. 4. In line 30, which word means at the same time? If you go back to line number 30, try to find the meaning as at the same time. Right? Which word? You write it here. It's simultaneously, actually. If you go back, line 30. Line 30. Line 30. Good as those who learn both languages simultaneously. That's at the same time, right? It means at the same time. So we write here simultaneously. Right? Right. 5. What is the author's answer to the question in line 38? In line 38, there is a question. Right? If you go back here, this is the question. Does this mean that earlier is always better for language learning? Again, does this mean that earlier is always better for language learning? What's the question for what's the answer, sorry, for this? Right? What's the answer? You may choose. Is it the answer A, B, or C, or D? Actually, the answer is C. The answer is, it could be true in some cases, but could be false in other cases. So the question is, this is the answer for that question. Right? So there was an answer, there was a question, and the answer is C. It could be true in some cases, but could be false in other cases. 6. In line 41, if you go back, which word means opportunities to hear and see? You check a word that means opportunities to hear and see. Right? Right. If you go back, line 41. Line 41. Sufficient exposure to the language and opportunities. Right. The word here, it means opportunities to hear and see is exposure. Right. Exposure, as we say in Arabic, اللي هو التعرض لشيء أو التعرض لموقف. Right. Right. 7. In line 66, majority refers to what? What does it refer to? The word majority refers to A, B, C, or D. Right? What does it refer to? It refers to A, parentes. Right? Majority refers to parentes. Right? If you go back, line 66, line 66. But for the majority of what? Of parentes. Right? If you read and go back, you find that we are talking about parentes. Right? Right? Here. Alright, if we started previously, here. If you go back, parentes here. So what should parentes do? We are talking about parentes, but for the majority of parentes here. Right? That's what majority refers to parentes. We circle it. Speaking. Discuss the questions with a partner. So you read and discuss the answers with your colleagues. Let's read. 1. At what age did you begin studying a second language? Right? Did you think the instruction that time was effective? Try to write your answer and then discuss it with your colleague. 2. In the future, if you have children, what might you do for their language education? Circle all that apply for you in the future. What will you do for your children? Is it right? Is it one person will always speak the second language to the child at home so the child can grow up in bilingual environment? Or B, I will try to send my child to a foreign country to master the second language? Or C, I will read my child stories in the second language and let him or let her listen to songs and videos? Or you will do D, when my child is 3 or so, I will send him or I will send her to a preschool or institute to learn a second language. So before school, right? What we call it in Arabic here, al-rawda. Right? Before they start school, he means here to start learning a second language. Or I'll wait until my child is 5 or 6 before he or she begins learning second language at school. Which one you choose for your child in future? Try to circle it and discuss it with your colleague. Next exercise, vocabulary, Fox. Number 1. Complete the sentences with the correct word. Right? 1. Before I give you my own answers, what you do, you switch off the video and try to work on your own. Alright? Switch it off. Right, let's complete. Let's read. Let's read. Children moving to foreign countries usually learn the new language perfectly. Of course. Why? This seems to, right? Seems to what? What we choose? We choose B actually. This seems to confirm the critical period theory, right? right? Because when my children move to a foreign country to learn a new language, right? Perfectly, sorry. So we can say that this seems to confirm that critical period theory. 2. Good parentis, right? Good parentis, right? Good parentis, yeah, we choose C. Good parentis are consistent. Good parents are consistent with rules for their children. The rules should generally, right, stay the same and not to change often according to the parent's mood. Right? So 2C. Right, 3. Moment. Right. 3. Let's read. At first, I didn't believe that she had mastered 3 languages, but after hearing her speak, right, I am now convinced. I'm now convinced. Convinced means I believe it now. After I listened to her, I believe it. Right? Right. Number 4. Dr. Potito claims that children have what? D. Have the capacity to learn even more than 2 languages perfectly. Right? Capacity means have the ability. Right? So D. Capacity. 5. Some parents worry that if they delay means become late. If they delay English education for their child, the child will never be able to learn English well. 6. Playing computer games is fun, but it shouldn't, right, D, shouldn't interfere with your schoolwork. Right? Shouldn't interfere. 7. In just a few months in Canada, Mr. Lee's son, right, learned a substantial amount of English. So in just a few months in Canada, Mr. Lee's son learned a substantial amount of English. 8. The longer you go without practicing a language, right, the more your diminish language skills, right, the more your the more your language skills will diminish, right? So the longer you go without practicing a language, the more your language skill will diminish, means you will forget it. 9. Some children living in Europe don't have any motivation. So some children living in Europe don't have any motivation to learn a foreign language. They just can't see why they should learn it. 10. It is generally not considered wise to let very young children learn grammar. The results are usually not so good. So it's generally not considered wise. And as we say in Arabic, مش من الحكمة تعليم القواعد. To let very young children, not university students. I'm talking about young children, not wise to teach them grammar. Don't teach grammar to young children. Right? Next exercise, vocabulary, Fox 2. Right. Right. Now, before I give you my correct answers, what you do, you switch off the video. Switch it off. Complete the sentences with the correct word. Now, before you listen to my answers, you should switch off the video, work on your own. 1. Use confuse or confusion. Right? A. Right? You can avoid unnecessary what? Confusion. You can avoid unnecessary confusion in tests if you carefully read the instructions. So confusion. But be careful though. Some teachers try to confuse students with the tricky questions. Right? So confusion, and here to confuse. 2 plus verb, to confuse. 2. Observed, observation. Verb in the past and the noun. Right. A. The principal means headmaster. The principal of the school occasionally, right, observed teachers teaching their students. Observed teachers, right? B. From her observation, the principal has discovered that some teachers cannot control their classes well. Right? So observed, observation. 3. Prefer and preference. Right? Now, what film would you prefer to see tonight? Verb here. Would you prefer means would you like. B. I don't have any special preference. It's up to you. This is the noun here. I don't have any special preference. Right? Let's go to the next. 4. Interact as a verb, or interaction as a noun. Right? Right. A. Without sufficient interaction, the noun, with others, it's difficult to develop communication skills. Right? To develop communication skills or to improve. B. Right? B. Students, right, interact best when the study topic is interesting. Right? Interact best. 5. Motivate as a verb or motivation as a noun. A. Right? A good teacher can motivate his students or her students. Can motivate. After can, we use verb. B. Without motivation, the noun, it's hard to do anything well. So without motivation. 6. Intervene as a verb or intervention, as a noun. Right? More and more people call for UN intervention in African countries facing civil war and starvation, no food. So, for UN intervention. B. The UN, however, is reluctant to intervene, right, in countries undergoing civil war. Right? Grammar. The use of the and the. This comparative structure shows a continuing cause-effect relationship between two actions or conditions. The plus comparative expression plus subject plus verb. A comma always separates the two clauses with the and the. Let's have an example. The more you practice, the better you get. Right? Here we have a comma here. The more you practice, the better you get. the earlier a child was exposed to a second language, comma, the better the child did. Another example, the bigger they came, or the bigger they come, comma, the harder they fell. Right? Right. Let's have an example or exercise for grammar. Exercise 1, the use of the, a sentence, and the, another sentence or statement. Two clauses. Now, before I give you my own answers, what you do is switch off the video and try to work on your own. Right? Switch off the video. 1. Match the sentences have here to make logical statements or logical sentences here. Right? Right? Right. Let's start. Right. Now switch off the video. Switch it off. Let me read. The more money they earned, the more money in the past they earned, D. We write D here. We write D. The more they spent. Right? The more they spent. We write D here. 2. The longer he waited, right? F. The angrier he got. The longer he waited, the angrier he got. We write F here. 3. Number 3. The longer she studied art, C. The more she appreciated it. Right? We write C here. C. The more she appreciated it. 4. Number 4. The harder he studied, E. The better his marks got. The better his marks got. We write E here. E here. 5. The more classes you take each term, right? B. We write B. The sooner you will graduate. Again, the more classes you take each term, each semester, what happens? B. The sooner you will graduate. Of course, you write B here. Number 6. The more you exercise, you write A. The healthier you will be. You write A here. The more you exercise, the healthier you will be. So you write A here. Exercise 2, grammar 2. Complete the sentences with information about yourself now. Right? And then compare it with your friends, with your colleagues. For example, number 1, the older I get, right? The older I get means the more problems I get, or the older I get, the sicker I become. The sicker I become. I become very sick. Right? Right? Or the older I get, the, let's say, unhealthier I become. The more I study English, right? The more I study English, the best I become. The best student I become. And so on. The more I think about politics these days, the and complete, for the more technology improves, the and so on. Right? Try to complete and compare it with your colleague. Right, another text now. Effective skills. Right? Effective skills here. What we have here. What we have. Predicting, sorry. Try to guess. Predict the answers to the questions before you read the text. Here we have questions. We read them first. Right? Number 1, which language is spoken by most people in the world? Is it English? Right? As a first language, which language is spoken by most people? Most people, the biggest number of people speak a language around the world. right, as a first language. Mandarin in Chinese, because China has got the biggest population, yeah. The Mandarin, right, the Mandarin Chinese as a first. Or if you want to say a second language, around the world, second language is English as a second language. 2. Which language is spoken as a first language in most countries? Right? Spanish. Right? Number 2, Spanish. Which language is spoken as a first language in most countries? Spanish. 3. How many languages are there in the world today? How many languages are there? The answer, estimates of 6,000 to 7,000. Between 6,000 and 7,000 languages. 4. How many languages are expected to exist, to stay, means to remain, by the year 2000? Right? About 3,000. Only 3,000 languages. Others will lose speakers. 5. Of the following countries like China, India, Indonesia, and the United States, which you think has the most native language? Right? Which has the most native language? The answer is Indonesia. Right? 6. Which language has the largest vocabulary? A lot of words. Right? Number 6. Most likely English. I don't think so. I think Arabic has the most vocabulary. Right? The new text, Ganda or Kanda or something. Language and the world. Let's read. Start. Here as a cue or maybe a question or something like that. Right? Let's read. Listen. Which language is spoken by most people in the world? A. Mandarin Chinese has the largest number of native speakers, with estimates varying from 800,000 native speakers to nearly 1 billion. Hindi, Spanish, and English are the next 3, right? Though surveys differ in the exact ranking, estimates for each vary from 320,000 to over 500,000. Right, next. If the number of people who speak a language as a second or foreign language is included, then English is probably the language that is spoken the most in the world, right? In the world. Language expert David Crystal estimates that a total of 1.4 billion people speak English as a native or foreign language, with the total number of people able to speak Mandarin Chinese around 1.2 billion. This might not last for long, though, as Chinese is becoming an increasingly popular foreign language for study in many countries. Right? Let's carry on. Next page. Here. Which language is spoken as a first language in most countries? That's a question. Q means a question. A, now answer. The answer. Which language is spoken as a first language in most countries? The answer. No language is spoken as a mother tongue in more countries than Spanish. A total of 22 countries claim Spanish as their official or co-official language. Most of them in Central and Latin America. That's why, in Latin America. Spanish is not an official language in the United States, but it has 31 million Spanish-speaking citizens, and this number is expected to grow. Question. How many languages are there in the world today? How many languages are expected to exist by the year 2100? The answer. Experts estimate 6,000 to 6,800 languages are currently spoken in the world, but this number is decreasing rapidly. Some experts believe that languages are dying out at a rate of one language every 2 weeks, while others estimate the loss is one per month. Right? We are here. At this rate, about half of the currently existing languages will disappear in this century. Some experts have more pessimistic predictions, right? Pessimistic predictions, as they believe the rate of language loss will only increase. Right? Right. Right here. All right. The growth of English has some effect on this dwindling number of languages. But Spanish, Portuguese, Russian, Arabic, and Chinese have each replaced just as many, if not more, local languages in various parts of the world. Already, 4 to 5% of all the world's languages are spoken by over 90% of the world's population, and half of the world speaks one of the 10 most common languages. Linguists call for more awareness, right, of language preservation and the benefits of bilingualism, and also stronger efforts by governments and communities to maintain native, right, tongues. Question: which of the following countries has the most native languages? Is it China, India, Indonesia, or the United States? The answer A. The answer: although all of the above countries have numerous native languages spoken within their borders, none of them comes close to Indonesia. Right? Indonesia has a population of 230 million people speaking an estimated 742 native languages spread across more than 17,000 islands. The official language taught in schools and used in the media it's called what? Bahasa Indonesian. However, there is another country with even more languages than Indonesia. Papua New Guinea is home to over 800 different languages, more than 10% of all of the world's languages. Right? Right here. Here. Okay, what else? Nigeria follows Indonesia with 516, followed by India with 427, and the United States with 311. The majority of these languages are expected to die out within the next century. Right? We stop here for a while and then we carry on. Right, let's carry on. Let's read. So we have another question here. Question: which language has the largest vocabulary? The answer is A. Language experts say it is impossible to make a very reliable estimate of how many words a language has. Historically, English has had a lot of contact with and been influenced by speakers of many other languages, right? And thus is probably larger in comparison to other languages. The Oxford English Dictionary contains over 117,000 words that are currently in use. Add to this current slang and colloquial expressions, and the number would be much higher. Don't worry, no one expects you to learn that many words. The average native speaker of English only knows a fraction of these, 18,000, 14 to 40,000 by some estimates. Some language experts suggest that a learner of English needs only around 10,000 words to become an advanced speaker, and even a strong knowledge of just the most common between 2,000 to 3,000 words can be enough for basic but effective communication and comprehension. Now we come to the exercise, right? Check your answers to the predicting exercise on page 79, right? That's what was the previous exercise. Now the exercise inferring. The question, which of the following inferences can you logically make from the text? Which one you can make inferring from the text, right? Right. Let's start here. Number one, by the year 2000, there might be fewer than 1,500 languages in the world, right? Right. Here, the inferring, yes. We write here, right? Yes. Scholars, right? Scholars, yes, we write. Scholars anticipate the rate of language decline will increase. Right, again, we can say, we write here, yes, scholars anticipate the rate of language decline will increase. 2. In the future, Spanish will be the official language in the United States. The answer, no. The number of Spanish speakers is growing, but this doesn't imply that English will be replaced as the main language. Right. 3. Mandarin Chinese may soon be the most widely spoken language in the world as a first or second language. Yes, the number of people learning Mandarin as a foreign language is increasing. 4. Many Indonesians speak at least 2 languages. Yes, the official language is taught in schools, so many children would speak their native language and the official language. 5. Many governments are making efforts to save minority languages in their countries. Answer, no. The rate of language loss implies the opposite. In other words, governments are not doing enough to preserve languages. 6. More than 20% of all the world's languages can be found in Southeast Asia. Yes, Papua New Guinea and Indonesia together have about 1,500 languages. This total, plus the number of languages in other Southeast Asian countries, adds up to more than a fifth of all languages in the world. Right? 7. It's common for scientists to borrow words from other cultures they come into contact with. Yes, contact with other cultures results in an influx of new vocabulary. 8. You need to know 10,000 English words before you can speak with a native English speaker. No. No, you can communicate with just 2,000 to 3,000 words. Between 2,000 and 3,000 words. Right? Right. So that's all for the unit. We go to the exercises now. Now exercise. This is for what? Dictionary editor. I'll give you some answers. Number 1, write the words in the box in alphabetical order in definitions A to I. Right? L. From A to L. Choose from here. Right? And here spaces, choose from this. Right? For example, A. Advantage. We write advantage. Where is it? This one. What does it mean, advantage? It means something that makes one person or thing more likely to what? From here, to succeed. To succeed than others. Write the word, and this is the explanation from a dictionary. So the word from here and complete definition from here. Right? And later you will have the answer. Here is the answer. For all exercises in the texts, and then, right, the answer for dictionary editor. Right? Okay, I think it's enough for this unit. We stop here. Thank you very much. Good luck for all of you. Thank you. See you inshallah. Goodbye. Goodbye.